All right, you guys, let's get into first.
There is a movement promoting our stories, and many of us grew up with a strong craving for images we can relate to. Production teams, writers, creative heads have come together to tell stories, and this podcast is their voice. The themes covered are very relevant to the Black community, and anyone concerned by the social and racial injustices that are in place to stifle this voice. The Pan-African voice is not easily heard, and here we talk about our movies, that film or doc which you heard about but didn't get to see. What was the story? Where can I watch it? It now has a voice. Tune in. We walk you through these stories and interview the filmmakers. Welcome. Karibu sana. Karibu sana.
And starting right on the lens. Ready? And action.
This is another episode of the Pan-African Film Podcast. And we're so excited to have Wubetu Shimelash today. I'm particularly excited because we're in sunny LA.
Yeah.
Yes. And we need to talk about your wonderful documentary, Wubetu, called Shepherd Clothing. It's a beautiful story, which is personal because it's about self-discovery. It's an identity story, and it's about your personal life journey, right?
Correct. Yeah.
So in your own words, do you want to tell us a little bit about Shepherd's Calling? The general themes are, belonging, what I described, identities. But tell us a little bit more about yourself.
First of all, thank you so much for inviting me to the show. And I know we've been planning this for almost over a year now, and we're finally able to make it in person. So I'm super excited to chat with you, and thanks for having me. Shepherd's Calling is really about the lifestyle of shepherds living in a cave in Ethiopia and their own interactions with the nature, the animals, the families, and whatnot. And it's inspired by my own background growing up over there. It's a film about sense of belonging and searching for a sense of belonging.
Yeah.
And the whole point of this film is about, whether you are changing a friend group or different city, a neighborhood, or a job, we all are searching for our sense of belonging. Do I fit in this environment? Do I, belong here? And that's kind of what I try to address it, but in a very broader form, comparing, contrasting the beautiful nature mountain, this magical mountain of Ethiopia, and the skyrocketing buildings in LA. And it's kind of like how they are so different, but at the core, they are similar, which is we're all trying to find a place where we call home, as well as a place to be happy and joyful and to love and love. So that's kind of like, it's a love later to my own experience that I try to express in this Shepherd's Call.
Okay, I love very combative. It's a love letter to the experience, but is that be like cross-cultural, like you said, juxtaposing two quite extreme, right? Places that you lived in are very different. And can you speak about your journey, kind of your story? What brought you over here from all the way up in Ethiopia, and how did a shepherd's boy become a filmmaker in LA?
Well, I never knew I was going to be a filmmaker, but I always knew I was interested in storytelling. I grew up in the most remote yet beautiful mountains of Ethiopia called Semen Mountains. And over there, I'm talking about no electricity, no cameras to make films, no Wi-Fi's, no computers. Even seeing a car is considered as luxurious in this place. Yet there is a huge, beautiful sense of community, and the nature was the mountain and the sheep were my teachers. So I grew up as a shepherd. At the age of 6 years old, I was in charge of taking care of my family's 200 sheep and living in a cave with other shepherds. And a lot of times conflicted with other shepherds over a grazing land. So for me, that was my cinematic master class. This beautiful backdrop of nature, mountain, and then conflicts and resolutions of other shepherds over a grazing land. So it's a classic film a plot. So for me, even before I know what film is, what cinema is, what a camera was, I had the stories and I had the sceneries of film in this place that I grew up in. In fact, while as shepherds, where we gather together inside a cave, we make a bonfire and we still tell stories. Sometimes scary stories to scare the other shepherds, and sometimes really like bravery stories. And we're talking about like 6 years old boys gathered together inside a cave with a bonfire around it, and we tell these horror stories and hero stories. So for me, I didn't know I was going to be a filmmaker, but I knew storytelling was in my core. And part of that is really the environment that I grew up in, because we don't have all these social medias and distractions of the electronics. So we find ways to entertain ourselves. And that is by interacting with animals, as well as by interacting with the nature, and most importantly, by telling stories to one another to be able to really entertain and scare the shepherds, or to call out somebody's bravery and praise somebody, whether you praise someone or whether you are trying to create fear. Story was the core values of our lifestyle as a shepherd over there. So
Yeah, it's true. It's I guess when you don't have the resources, then you start to invent and create, and imagination kind of kicks in, and innovation jumps in, and creativity and all of that. It's amazing how the line you were and then we loved your film and how you told you captured the images of your childhood. Like you said, these beautiful places. Simi Mountains are spectacular.
Yeah, it's one of the World UNESCO World Heritage Site.
It was okay. I wasn't sure. It is Simi, because there's so many. There's another one. Ethiopia has so many World Heritage Sites.
Sure, yeah.
But the Simian Mountains are breathtaking. And obviously now we're, like you were saying, curry party and then the egg and
You're invited to my next party.
it's like and he's hardly here, which is setting all over the world with his, very different career, and vice that right.
Sure.
From where you started off. That's the point of this friend of me.
For sure, yeah.
Not to discredit any lifestyle.
I was throwing parties back in the cave as well. So.
He was so we could anywhere. But it is kind of like what you're saying. It's not the place that makes you, right?
Yeah.
It's that way the person you're saying you're the same in the case, you're the same in your small village or big city. And so it is about finding that core identity. And it's very much a Pan-African story, So within the context of the show, I also wanted to ask you the big kind of question, like for you, Wubetu, what is Pan-Africanism?
For me, Pan-Africanism is being able to tell our own stories from our own perspective in our own way. Pan-Africanism, listen to this, Pan-Africanism is telling our own stories from our own perspective in our own way. A lot of times, African stories have been told by other people, but there's nothing wrong with that. But the problem is when African stories are told by other people, you're missing little nuances that really break or make the story. I'm gonna give you an example. As a shepherd, I was living in a cave, but I didn't have shoes, but I have 200 sheep. So for somebody that just looked at that shepherd boy, you might think, oh, poor shepherd, he can't afford the shoes. But that was not the case. Mm-hmm. It's just not the lifestyle, because I have 200 sheep. If I sell that one of the sheep, I can buy shoes for you, for me, all the clothes that we could think of. I would be able to afford it if I sell some of my sheep. But it's just not the lifestyle. Now, from a Western point of view, or from an outsider perspective, you look at this boy without the shoes or without the proper gear and mount him, you automatically think, oh, poor boy. And then I think you're missing the point, because it's the different lifestyle. And the same thing in the village that I grew up in the Southern Mountains, when farmers are farming on their field, they take their shoes off. So when you see them in their field working, they are working without shoes. Again, for somebody that just went there, might think, oh, poor farmers does not have shoes. But they have like several oxen, cows, horses. If they sell one of them, they can afford a lot more than the shoes. But the reason they take their shoes off when they are farming in the field is because of the respect and the value that they have towards the soil and the land that they farm in. This is the land that feeds them and their families. So they have a huge respect not to step on it with their shoes on. So if you're not telling it from African perspective or from your own people point of view and your own method of telling that story, then you miss those nuances that are breaking or making the story. So for me, Pan-Africanism is really telling our own stories from our own perspective in our own way. And this simple examples that I give really articulates how a simple outfit change and in a visual representation, whether you know the culture or not, can affect the overall arc of that story. And that's why I'm trying to bridge the gap between the West and Africa through my storytellings and the things that I'm doing, because I feel I'm an ambassador, having lived both experiences, having had the connections in both worlds. I feel like one of the person that can bridge these boundaries to the best of my ability, and I use the storytelling on film to make that happen.
Okay, that's awesome. I'm really fascinated by that. It's I guess question of perspective, right? If you don't have to worry POV as for at least the main character or the main plot, and whose story is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Like it just can change the narrative.
They say experience is the best teacher.
Experience is the best teacher.
Yeah.
So you got to get out and do it. I am actually totally agreeing with that one.
Yeah.
Unless you try it, because silly it's not gonna be, because crazier things have happened.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna go a bit off script actually, and say, now from where you were, and you've got to see the documentary, Shepard's Calling. Is it available? Is it streamed? Because I think it's streamable now, right?
Right now, it's just in Film Circus. We have had a lot of film festivals interested in it, so I've been traveling around and screen it. Yeah, so it's still in Film Circus, but we hope to put it on streamable services sometime soon. But as of right now, it's film festival. So but if there's a film festival near that is,
yeah,
we'll probably
check it out. Because the funny thing is, the way that you come over here from, I don't want to give it too much away, but like an entrepreneur, a Western entrepreneur.
Yeah.
And like what you were doing in your village is so relatable, because you were, very entrepreneurial, making shoes, right? And trying to sell them yourself. And it's just ironic in a way that, the piece of paper that gets you over here is from also an entrepreneur who is making shoes, right?
Yeah.
I found that very, very interesting. And now that you're here, to find you like in what looks like to me like cowboy attire almost.
Howdy.
How did you find like an affinity to that culture, or is it just the style for you that you like?
Well, I think like the way I dress sometimes come off a lot of times I dress Ethiopian style, like how kings used to wear, how like I always have these colorful outfits with me, because I believe there's different ways of spreading Pan-Africanism, whether that is the way you speak, the way you interact, the way you walk, the way you talk, as well as the way you dress, and the type of stories that will bring you out.
Yeah.
I believe the type of outfit that I would also represent this. Now, a lot of people in the West think this hat that I'm wearing, which is a cowboy hat,
Yes.
would call it, it's mostly recognized as a cowboy southern, as like it's southern part of the
Suddenly,
West. Yeah.
suddenly everybody here
Exactly.
automatically thinks.
But what's interesting is
Yeah.
in 90, like in 80, in the 80s, and 20s, 1830s, this was actually a popular outfit in Ethiopia. They used to wear cowboy hats. So my thing is, I'm trying to bring, this is what kings used to wear. Like if you think of King Menelik, who was the leader of Adwa, he used to wear hats like this. So I'm bringing back the Pan-Africanism through this outfit and then mixing that up with the Western culture, because that's kind of the lifestyle I'm living now, as I'm living this two blend culture. So whether it's through the lifestyle that I live, the outfits that I wear, the ways that I speak, I try to combine those two together as well. So yes, as you said, like I look like I just came from Texas, it's cowboy hat today, but the truth of the matter is this is what kings used to wear back in Ethiopia. I'm not considering myself a king, but also I'll take that.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, because I'm, very much a fan of King Menelik II. So I do understand the connection.
Yeah.
And it's true, like, I don't think everybody does, right? So it's important to sometimes say the obvious. Because I think with Hollywood, with representation on cinema, sometimes we take these things for granted, that representation is somehow just for the Southern American states. And we don't understand the opportunity of the possibility mentally, have that mental like elasticity to think, oh, maybe there were kings in Ethiopia like centuries ago that looked like that too, and just kind of reclaiming that identity for you. That's amazing. Is that something you want to move forward with in your story, or like, I actually want to hear about those cross-cultural boundaries that you described with a little more in detail. You also in your story mentioned a time before you came over here where you spent years in Addis. What was that experience for you? Can you talk about it?
Yeah,
just like the country. Like,
yeah.
There's also that divide, and how just the different displacement. How do you adapt to them?
Yeah. I think for our audiences that might not be familiar, the journeys that make me coming from the small villages in Ethiopia all the way to the US, just to give an end of the context.
Yeah.
Is, after like from the age of 6 to 10, like I was 10 years old, I was living in a kit taking care of my family's 200 sheep, a few cows and horses, right? And eventually I started school, and at the age of 10, I had to walk 5 hours round trip every single day. Imagine walking 5 hours the nearest school every single day, and I was really passionate on that. And that's in that school, like my cost Uge is the founder of Tom Shees, and now we have he's also the founder of this movement called Enough. I ran to it at my school. He was coming there to visit. I kick a soccer ball to him, kick it back, and then our connection something started. And at the end, he gave me this piece of paper that has random letters and numbers, which is, in the West, you would call it a business card.
Yeah.
But for a shepherd or now students who never seen a computer before, electricity, emails before, a business card is just a random piece of paper, right? But eventually, a friend explained to me that I can send an email to Blake and he will be able to respond to me. Like that was, out of my head. Because in my village, if you want to send a message, you call the little boy, give him the message, and then send that message through the boy. And then that boy, like as he is traveling from one place to another, he's repeating what the message was so that he doesn't forget. Or if you're really lucky enough and someone from your community or family can read or write it later, you pass messages through that. The idea of you write an email on a computer and then that message arrives from Ethiopia to the US in a matter of seconds, that is unimaginable, right? But eventually, I trusted a friend. I walked 12 hours to the nearest internet cafe. I, paid somebody to help me write the email because I don't know how to create email, how to type it on the computer, the whole thing that works. And eventually, I was able to connect it back with Blake, and we messaged back and forth on those emails. I was still very not sure if I'm receiving the email from him or from the people at the internet cafe and that just making me pay for that service, right? But my biggest fear in life is passing opportunities with trying. So I just went with it, and eventually that communication becomes more clear and clear. And I convinced my grandma to helping me convince my parents, and they gave me the permission to move to the capital of Ethiopia, Addis, with the help of Blake, who said, if your parents give you the permission to travel to Addis and get a better education over there, I would be more than happy to support you with that. I moved into Addis and I stayed there for 3 years, learned, and I was doing really well in school. And I wanted more. I was hungry. I was curious. Right. Curiosity has been keeping me moving.
Yeah.
And I still feel I'm a very curious guy.
Yeah.
So eventually, not just for 3 years, I was excelling in school. I'm sending report cards to Blake, and my family everybody's proud. Wubetu's, he get the game. And I wanted more. I'm interested to come to the US and do more education. And eventually Blake said, oh yes, if your parents still give you the permission, I'd be more than happy to support you. I moved for high school, and the funny thing about the high school part is when I was in Ethiopia, I used to watch these action movies that, in these action movies, you see big buildings from New York, LA, Chicago, sort of blown up, right? So all the these action movies that I see is big cities. And on the plane, I'm watching the first coming to America, and then there's a scene where it takes place as soon as they arrive in New York. So I'm thinking to myself, the Prince of Ethiopia is coming to America. Get ready, everybody. And because I thought the entire America was big cities like New York, LA, and Chicago. And on top of that, watching coming to America, I'm feeling like treating myself, carrying myself like a prince of Ethiopia coming to America. Finally, I find out myself at the middle of cornfield in Iowa.
I was about to say, it's so nice.
It was.
Oh my God. Yes, I was just planning to read the story because you don't show that so much in the film. And I was like, Iowa. Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I arrived in Iowa, and then it was exactly like my village, where it's greenery, it's beautiful, plus a highway next to it.
Right.
I was like, it feels right at home, but not what I expected.
I had in mind.
Exactly. But I think for me, great time there. Yeah. I attended school over there, and eventually I, did colleges in North Carolina. I did my master's in Los Angeles at University of Southern California, USC.
Yeah.
And in between, I traveled a lot lived in London, Denmark, Bolivia, and I'm going back Ethiopia and US. So I kind of put my footprints everywhere.
Okay.
But what that allowed me to do is it opened up my spectrum. It opened up my eyes to see the world from a different perspective, because all of these cultures that you travel to, as well as the people that are meeting, they are adding a value and helping you grow those as a person, as an artist, and just as human being, generally speaking. So that has been such a wonderful experience to be able to kind of go back and forth. And I think I'm so grateful to have that opportunities and being able to This like two different worlds.
Right, and kind of be a bridge between them, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. So, what do you think about the media, documentary filmmaking as a way of activating that or being a catalyst for that social change that you're talking about, and using it as a tool? Like, what was your intention behind with making Chapit's colleague?
For the past 16 years, I've been going back and forth between the US and Ethiopia. And every time I go to Ethiopia, I'm taking footages and visual representations of what life looks like in the US. And as simple as I am a big skier. So when I show my friends and family back at home in Ethiopia with me skiing and Mr. Snow, why not? They've blown up. And then I do the opposite as well, where I bring the Ethiopian culture and this visual representations back to the States as well. A simple truth is like a coffee song in Ethiopia is huge, has to do with community where the community gathers together for 3 hours long. That's where all the gossip happens, all like marriage proposals, it goes to politics, economical discussions, business deals. It is the central port of the community's lifestyle. So I bring those to the States where now we have become so much individualized and we focused on this, distracted by these technologies. So they also have these interesting reactions, my friends in the US, when I show them the beauty and as well as the different elements of Ethiopian lifestyle. And for me, that's what I recognized. I could be the bridge between the two worlds of mine by using a visual storytelling as a means of communicating these differences, but also similarities, right?
Yeah.
And I think there is a huge power in documentary filmmaking because it allows us to not only tell it, but communicate it and show it through these visuals that has way more power than just words, right?
Yeah.
But at the same time, sometimes I'm very fascinated by the differences as well. Okay. And the village that I grew up in, there has never been a single homeless person. Mm. Let that sink.
And LA.
I live in Los Angeles, and then
Los Angeles, California. But let not even. Should we I don't know if you've been further north, but it's a serious issue.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Is I come out of my house and I see this $1 billion building, and next to it is a person struggling to.
It was a shock for me. It was a shock when I first went to New York. The contrast.
Yeah.
I mean, I've also been living in East Africa where you have that contrast. But I think when it comes to a big scale in the West, like a big city like LA, New York, it shocks me more somehow.
Exactly. Yeah.
And then it's funny how they tell me that you're gonna get over it. I've heard some people call it the fentanyl. It's like they look like the ghosts in the movies to me sometimes about the way there's so much homelessness here.
Yeah, and I think for
people don't see them. In that sense, of ghosts in the movies, the way people don't see them, acknowledge them on the street.
You just pass them by.
Yeah,
and I think that's what I'm trying to make a point is you have this infrastructure, this $1 billion of building, but next to it is a person struggling to find its meat, right? Might not have eaten that day, the whole day that day, right?
Yeah.
You go back to this village that I grew up in, there has never been a single homeless person because everybody takes care of one another. The sense of community is so strong. Throughout my films, I try to show that. I try to limit that.
Yeah.
Because as we're talking about, or as the mass media presents it, you think of Ethiopian villages as a poor country or as a poor place versus the US being rich economically. Yes, infrastructure works, yes. Mm-hmm. But for me, how I define richness and poverty is beyond the economy. The well-being of the community that are living around it matters. And if there has never been a single homeless person in this village, and somebody's taking care, like everybody is taking care of one another, for me, that is richness at score. Because there is a rich well-being of everybody. Everybody is valued, seen, taken care of.
The definition of wealth, right? It
Exactly.
depends on how perspective, as you were saying.
Exactly.
It all comes back to perspective,
Yeah.
and how you define these things for yourself. Because the values center align for you to get involved. And I think that segues into the question I had about social entrepreneurship, because obviously that's another way to identify as well. Do you want to say a little more about that and before we kind of close out?
For sure. As you know, having had the opportunity to go back and forth between Ethiopia and US, as well as, being part of the community in Ethiopia and part of the community out in the West, I'm always trying to find a way to bridge it. And one of the things that I did is I started a traveling company called Shimelash, which is a company that provides efficient and convenient tour services in Ethiopia while supporting local communities. What that means is we show the beauty and the hospitality of Ethiopia for tourists that are coming to visit from all parts of the world, including the US, right? But part of our profit goes to support the local communities. We've done solar lights. We partner with this company called What's of Love, and we give solar lights for 10,000 people in my village. And growing up, I didn't have that type of resource. I'm studying by the moon at night or using a fire to study. I know the struggle.
Right.
And that perspective gave me what is needed in that village. And then being in the States, I had the connections and I know what infrastructure I know to do. So we took and provided solar lights for 10,000 people over there. Same as reusable menstruation cycle pads, where the girls can wash it and reuse it for 2.5 years. We distribute that across the schools. We create awarenesses around our crazy jobs in the productions of these pads because we wanted to produce it locally. We built schools, libraries. We created social entrepreneurship training centers. So all of this, what they are allowing us to do is I'm using my experience and things that I have learned in different walks of life. I'm taking that back to the village that raised me, that give me a value that really show love and care at a younger age, which I try to carry now with me, and I wouldn't get that back. I feel, Blake gave me the opportunity to see the world in so many different ways. Mm-hmm. I believe opportunities come with the responsibilities.
Okay.
Opportunities come with the responsibilities. We have the responsibility of using that chance wisely, and we have the responsibility of giving back opportunities to others. And I feel like I'm obligated to do that, and I'm trying to do that in my best way possible, because I care about the community that raised me, as well as I want to spread the word of generosity and kindness to the best of my ability. And that doesn't mean I'm going to solve the entire problem. I don't have that ability to solve that problem, but if I can address one issue at a time, and I'm able to make your day better than I found it, whether, again, whatever form that is, that for me is good enough.
Yes, it is a good way to have to have a good viewpoint to hold on to, for sure.
Yeah.
And I love all the social work that you're doing in terms of pass one on, right?
Pass it on,
Correct. To you, pass it on,
Yeah.
hand what back. That whole perspective about leaning into your community and using it to build, it's amazing.
Yeah.
So, do you want to share any upcoming plans before we?
I think I would.
What you're doing at the moment. I know, talking about where Wubetu is not like we'll be here another 30 minutes. So like let's just skip that part because you're all over the place,
Yeah, we've been
all over the world.
yeah, we've been traveling a lot. I just come from New York here last night for your interview. Otherwise, I would sit in
Really?
New York. Exactly. So, yeah, right now we're working on this project called Enough. Blake, I worked with Blake on Blake McCoskey, the founder of Thomas Shoes, with it. He had a really huge challenge in past few years on mental health. He almost, took his life, and I was there. I witnessed the struggles that he was going through, and he has been there for me in my early ages as I was, trying to discover and give me opportunities to get a better education and whatnot. And it was just pretty tough on him and on people around him. So recently we started this company called Enough. With the idea is it's a bracelet that we have,
Do you want us to share it?
a product that we have in it. So this is what the box looks like, and there is 2 bracelets inside. It says one for you, one to give.
Okay, so like that whole concept, pass one on. I love it.
Exactly. The idea is one is for you as a daily reminder of your well-being, and we were talking about how the community take care of one another in Ethiopia, about their well-being. The second one is like someone that would care if they go in hard times and being able to share that with.
Okay.
And I think that's kind of what we were trying to communicate. It's a movement that we're trying to create, because no matter from your demography, what background you have, mental health is a global issue that is affecting all of us in different scales and different forms. So we just want to give that as out of a day in mind of that. Next to it is a poem. It's written by this amazing poet, Adam, or we call him Inchu. And it goes with the poem as well, and it's a reminder that it goes with the bracelet, and it's kind of reminding that. And the most importantly, 100% of the enough profit goes to support organizations that are doing amazing work around the mental health.
Okay.
Like that's 100% of the profit goes over there. This is for you, I brought it for you.
Oh wow.
This is for you, and then like.
I was just thinking how it makes a beautiful gift. Oh my god,
Exactly.
yeah, so I'm really like, this is blowing my mind right now. This takes me totally off script. Very empty-handed. Yeah, it's totally highlighted here in 100% of the I mean, you hear these partnerships of 50% on profit, 80%. I've never seen a company founded on.
Yeah, I mean, we're talking about it.
Actually, you were saying it's a non-profit, but
Yeah, so
just saying.
100% of the profit goes to support those, and what's really important about it is they also made like fully handmade in India, so create many jobs over there. So I would love to actually read the poem for you if that's what you're
No, I was just dying. Can you even reassure me?
Oh, I'm ready for it. Yeah. Beyond, I see you, but you behind you. That's for anything you've done or anything you're gonna do. I didn't stop to say it enough, but I believe it. And if you could see yourself from my view, you would believe it. That is why I'm giving you the gift that I'm receiving to. A message to remind you when you are lost or feeling blue. A mantra to repeat when times are tough. Because no matter who we are always enough. It is a silent prayer I'm sending for the world of mental health. I wear this symbol for myself and as a bond to someone else. It is a blessing and a gentle push to never give up. Because no matter who you are enough.
It's so beautiful.
So we have.
Thank you so much. This is so special. And I'm just gonna throw it out there. You see my gallery birthdays.
Oh my god, amazing!
She's gonna get for sure.
how old is your daughter?
She's 17 today, so Ariel, we are enough. We're really enough. Ariel with her name.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
She's
Yeah.
very happy too. This is beautiful. So
That's
I see how, like, you know, the transition now, or I think that was what was my main curiosity. You know, from the Shepherd's Calling, and I go on social entrepreneurship, and this is how, like, it just
Yeah, I think the idea is whether I'm doing film or social entrepreneurship, it is all about service. And I think profit will come through that. But most importantly, I think service is there. It gives you a purpose. It gives you to be part of. It allows you to make somebody's day. So you said it's your daughter's birthday. Imagine when she receives that.
Yeah.
I hope you will read the poem to her.
Yeah.
So I'm 17 years old in daughter, and she's celebrating her birthday today. So that's beautiful. Like that's a great age as well.
Yeah, it's a great way to connect with us. Like in the age of AI, especially when that human connectivity is really being stripped away quite quickly. It's more than just sending an email now, right? We
Exactly.
call anybody and fabricate anything.
Yeah.
The
The physicality.
just the fact that you see or seen and you matter, it's just all more meaningful.
Exactly.
So thank you so much.
Exactly. As I was saying, like, for me, it is important to get involved in a project that are doing so good to support the community. Whether that is one person or a larger scale, I just wanted to do something beyond myself. I would wake up in the morning and know that I have a purpose to make somebody's day better than I found it.
Yeah. That sense of wealth beyond yourself is very interesting. I think it's been in our culture, but I think somehow we've kind of forgotten about it. And it's good to remind ourselves. So you are enough campaign. Is there any websites or social media?
We are everywhere we are enough on social medias, and then the website for
So weareenough.org. You see,
weareenough.org is our website as well. So we'd love to would love for your audiences to go and check it out and see what we're doing and spread the message. It's all about, as I mentioned earlier, 100% of the profit goes to mental health organization.
Yeah.
Great job for the well-being of people, and we'd love for them to check it out and see what are we doing in today's resonates with them and spread the message. It's all about creating awareness around mental health, and no matter where you're from and who you are, that affects all of us. And I think it is a topic that we need to have a discourse, a conversation about what's going on. So, yeah.
For sure. It's universal. It's everywhere. It's global. It's beyond. It's Pan-African. It's everything. Thank you, Wubetu, for taking the time out of lunch and all of this. I know you find your hands in sewing pots. But I think the conversations are definitely worth it. So do take the space and time to connect. And 2026 is the good connection.
2026, we finally made it.
Finally,
We've been trying to link up for a long time. So thank you so much for having me. It's been a great conversation to have and to connect. Yeah.